where you are joining from. That would be amazing. If you want to get a little bit more team focused, feel free to throw in the chat box. Where are you at in your job search? Are you even searching for a job? Are you just attending because you love attending field trips and you have some time? What about how about you've been searching for a job, maybe for 6 months, maybe a year, kind of frustrated? Let us know. Throw it in the chat. I'd love to hear what you want to get out of today. Hi from DC. Cool. I'm calling in. Well, not calling in. I'm zooming in from Austin, Texas. Recent from Chicago. Okay. I feel like, how are we doing, Megan? Megan's helping me out today. We got Alexa here too, the field trip team. Got most people in. Can I kick it off or should I wait a second?
Yeah, weight room is gone. Everyone's kind of filtering in. I think you could go ahead and get rolling.
Okay, wonderful. I'm getting a little entranced with everyone in the chat box. So thank you so much for engaging. This is a great opportunity for you to connect with some people around the world. Field trips are global. I've met some new friends. I've connected with new people, new business partnerships. So feel free to have some fun in the chat box. And please also share what you'd like to get out of today's event. I think you might also find a way to align with people in that area too. So we are going to be using an engagement tool called Slido today. If you haven't used it before, it's fairly simple to use. You can scan the QR code just like you would at a restaurant right now to find a menu. It will take you to a website and ask you for an event code. The event code for today is career ad, CAREERAD. You can also log in through a browser if you're on your computer. And we're just going to be asking a couple questions, having a little fun with it today. It's a little bit easier of a tool to use. The answers pop up on the screen other than in the chat box. So if you have some questions about this, feel free to throw it in the chat. I have some help and assistance. If I see it, I'll answer it as well. But let's go on to the first question. Okay. What frustrates you most about the job search? Is it a lack of reply? Is it hard to find jobs? Is it that you don't know what to actually apply for? Is it you don't know how to apply? Let's see, not hearing back from recruiters, ghosting. Yeah, right. Yeah, I hear you there. Motivation, ultra competitive, needle in a haystack. Oh, these are great. I'm going to print this out and probably put this on my wall after today. Cover letters. What do you say in them? And this event's going to be focusing on the resume and LinkedIn profile, but happy to answer some questions about cover letters in the Q&A. Lack of transparency, ultra competitive, CV gaps. How do you navigate CV gaps? I see rigged process. Yeah, there can be a lot of frustration, a lot of negativity that gets attached to the job search in itself. It's a numbers game. It's like a shotgun approach. You're just trying to apply for anything and just trying to hear back from anyone because no one responds. That's what it feels like. Silence from employers. What are they looking for? Okay, this is wonderful. This is great. This is really helpful too. So thank you all for replying. Keep throwing these in the chat, by the way, or keep throwing them in this little add-on screen on Slido if you like, because I'm going to use this and I'm going to share this. So maybe you get this in the follow-up email too, because I think these are great. These are real beliefs that we have about searching for a job. It's very real, these frustrations. 98% of job seekers are eliminated at the initial resume screening. About 2% of candidates actually make it to the interview. I mean, this highlights more the fact that your resume, your LinkedIn profile need to be top of the top. Because even if you're the 2% that make it to the interview, only a percentage of those people actually move on too. But if we go into this job search with the mindset that, it's frustrating. No one ever replies. I expect people to ghost me. Then we're going to be leading with negativity, and people can feel that. And we're not going to be motivated to do the work that we need to do. We are not going to be energized about what is really an opportunity for growth. There are very few times in our life when we have literally by definition, the ability to learn new skills, to meet new people, to potentially make more money. And getting a new job is all of those things. And so I'd love for you to say, okay, I feel this way. I'm frustrated. I get it. I mean, I spent 2.5 years out of grad school trying to find a job, getting 4 different jobs and having them stripped away from me because of federal funding. And I got frustrated. And that frustration ended up leading me astray. Because when you're leading with negativity, leading with frustration during this search, you don't invest the time to actually build relationships. You don't spend the time to search for your dream positions. You really do focus on the shotgun approach. And sometimes you just don't stop applying because you're exhausted. And then when you do get a call, you're just like, oh, they're going to ignore me anyways. And so let's try to lead from this day on with the belief that the job search is an opportunity, is a gift, and that whatever we get next is going to be a step forward in our career and going to help us continue to grow. So hopefully you all believe that. And that's really why I founded Live for Yourself Consulting. If you don't know me, my name's Dr. Benjamin Ritter. I work with senior leaders, senior management, basically, to executives that feel stuck, that are in a leadership position, but don't feel like they're leaders. They've really been successful professionally, but don't actually feel successful. And we work together to create a career that they can love. We gain clarity around what their personal brand is, what their goals are. We figure out where they're not confident and how to build that confidence through internal work and external work, so the hard skills and soft skills as well. And we create greater control over where they're spending their time and who's in their community to ensure that they're building the relationships, the connections, and investing the time where they need to. If you want to find out more of my content, just type my name into Google, go to liveforyourselfconsulting.com. I have podcasts, YouTube videos. I just posted one today on leadership. And if you want to connect about any of these topics, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, and I'll put these links later on as well. But this is incredibly important to me to feel like you can actually love your work. And getting a job, getting your next best job, because each one is your next best job, is crucial and important and possible. I work with people consistently on getting to that next job title. And all this list right here, just to throw you some belief right now, has happened during lockdown. VP to COO, manager to senior manager, quality manager to quality director. Industries are hiring. And what I want to do today is to really focus on getting your resume and your LinkedIn profiles to be in that top 2%. I'm also going to give away a free resume, LinkedIn, and job strategy session later on today, so stick around. I'm going to give everyone time for a Q&A, and then everyone gets a gift, because we're just going to have one person win the prize, but everybody gets a gift at the end, so stick around too. If you want to have your resume shared in a quick review right now during the workshop, please throw it in a shared drive folder that I have created. It's not confidential, so if you don't want people to see your resume, don't put it there. But I will be checking this drive a little bit later in the presentation to do a walkthrough. It's one thing for me to tell you what some resume tips are. It's another thing for me to actually go through a resume and show you. And even better if someone on the call wants some advice right away. So links in the chat. Feel free to throw your resume. I'm a pretty positive guy, but I hope also that you are able to take some feedback, because I will be just giving you real honest advice on where you can improve your resume to get it to that top 2%. Sound good, everyone? Nods? I see some nods, see some thumbs up. Awesome. Okay. So for your resume, let's make this clear. The main goal for your resume is getting the interview. And your resume has to prove that you can already do the job you're applying for. And this leads right into the greatest limiting belief that I see. People brand themselves as the job they are. I can't tell you how many times I've opened up a resume from a client and it said, aspiring senior manager, future director. Okay, so if that's on your resume, why would I hire you to be a manager or a director? Because you're telling me that you're not there. So when someone submits a resume that has 5 years of experience in the field, you're already disqualifying yourself. So let's try to keep this in mind. The resume needs to prove that you can already do the job you're applying for. And we'll talk about how to make that happen. And also, please keep in mind that your resume should tell a story for that job. How did you get there? What have you learned along the way? What do you truly care about? And from top down, almost like you're reading a book from front to back. And so when you look at your resume, does it do that? If I opened up your resume right now, would it prove to me that you can do the job you're applying for? And do I understand the story that you're trying to tell? So let's do another slide of Poe. What do you think is the greatest myth about resumes? What is something that you hear all the time? And this myth, by the way, is actually causing people to not get interviews. They're not able to beat the applicant tracking systems because of this one myth. You can use the QR code on the left side, or you can go to slido.com and use the event code career ad. See only one page, no one reads them. They're read by a real person. I see that they need to be no more than 2 pages long. I'm just gonna stop this right now because you guys are amazing. It is the 1-page myth. It's the fact that no one can be over 1 page. Never have your resume over 1 page. So I'll be editing resumes and there'll be size 8 font and there'll be tables on the left and right. It blows me away. And how do you actually get the right information in there? Honestly, recruiters don't usually look at your resume right away, right? It's these applicant tracking systems. And so keywords really matter. But when someone looks at your resume, it should look clean. It should actually give them like a breath of fresh air. It should help them feel calm when they look at it. And so if you're entry level, I get it, 1 page, but you may have a lot of clubs and organizations and volunteer work and internships where you can be 2 pages. If for 2 pages, usually that's 3 to 5 year mark, but a lot of people will say, don't go over 2 pages. I don't know how that's possible. If you're an executive, if you have 10 years of experience, if you've worked on a variety of major projects, 3, 4, I'd say 3 or 4 are perfect. So do not be limited by this 1-pager type of mentality, because that's not actually letting you be scored properly by these applicant tracking systems. And I've said this a few times, and if you don't know this yet, unless you're applying for a really small company, your resume is getting scanned and it's getting a score. And it's getting scanned by keywords that the hiring manager, the recruiters have decided are important for the job. And a lot of times you can find out those words by looking through the job description and the required skills and the mission and values area. But if your resume doesn't have those keywords, it's going to get a low score. So no one's even going to look at it. So by limiting your pages, you actually are limiting the ability to score high. So please keep that in mind when you are writing your resumes. Just a few general tips. Again, you want to write for the job that you want. When you are formatting, I've mentioned this already, but keep it simple. Really, the only thing you should have in terms of a fancy anything and for formatting would be bold or underlines. You want to be sure that there's enough white space, again, where someone feels calm when they're looking at your resume. Tables, ATS systems hate tables, and you've probably heard this already. Pictures, they confuse ATS systems. So keep it clean. If you want to get creative, use your cover letter. Send a different attachment that is focused on your ability to be creative. Utilize that in your LinkedIn profile potentially, but keep the resume simple. And also when you upload your resume to systems that doesn't understand that, you'll see a lot of your information will be a mess. Use headers to tell stories and that match what you tend to find in applications. So you want a summary, key skills, education, experience, volunteerism, if it's important, publications. But again, think about this as a story. How can you make it easy and simple for someone to follow and read? If you don't have a lot of experience, have your education at the top. If you don't have a lot of experience, again, you can put your key skills at the top. What does someone need to see to keep reading? So they open your resume, they see your name, they might see a couple keywords potentially related to the job that you want. They'll see your summary because that's who you are. And then depending on what you want them to know is how you order things. Think about how can I get them to keep reading? Also, the same goes for bullets within your job descriptions. Does that first bullet draw them in? Or are they way too long? Are they written in narrative format? Do you even use bullets? And so then they look at that and they say, I don't even know what to do. How many times have you gotten a newsletter and an email or seen a post online that has just been one big block of text? You don't know where to start. You skim it, you skip it. But how many times have you gotten an email that is like line, line, bold, line, and all of a sudden now your eyes know where to go. So think about that as well when you're writing your resume. Now, when we talk about the specific bullets within each specific job posting themselves, a lot of times I see uh, job applicants using very generic verbiage, managed office, but that doesn't really tell me anything. Now, if you're applying for a job that requires team development or leadership, it's managed X amount of people, what you managed for them within that office. So get very specific in terms of what you actually did, what you accomplished. Use quantities when available, such as increased productivity by 20%, oversaw 200 phone calls. Where can you input numbers? Where can you add specifics to your bullet points so that they tell me again that you can do the job, and they quantify it and they show me results. So it actually is, so instead of just saying manage the project or manage an office, I know exactly what you did and what you're capable of. When you are using action words, though, you want to watch out for repetition. You don't want to use managed, 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 developed, 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 established, established, established. You really want to try to avoid that in one job, in one specific job that you've had. You don't really want to use the same action verb over and over again. You don't probably want to use it just once. So you can easily look up online just a variety of different action verbs for resumes, and a ton will pop up. You can even actually, and I recommend this, look at the job postings themselves and use those words that they use. That will also help your keyword score. I was editing a resume the other day, and the email was something like, it was like a color, it was like spiritual, and this is fine, but they wanted like a corporate job. It was like spiritual energy blue. It was just something very non-professional. And mind you, that can actually cause you not to be chosen. So does your email also scream professionalism? Does it represent also the field that you're interested in? Think about this. You apply for a job in marketing, maybe as a creative. You can go create a Gmail account right now that is, marketing leader, or Angela marketing expert, or something that actually relates to your field that can cause you to stand out. Just some really bonus resume tips that I think are a little bit more unique, but very important. I mentioned this already, but you want to use the required skill sections from a job description and almost copy paste, where you're opening up this job description, you're seeing a couple of required skills, you're taking that sentence, those keywords, and then you're integrating it into something that you've done at your job. So you have what they're saying they need, and you're showing a quantifiable action-oriented outcome for that specific bullet. A lot of times people just list everything they've done at a job under each position that they have. But if it's not going to be relevant, if it's not going to increase your score to help you get chosen, you don't need it. And you can just expand on that within an interview if they ask for it. Same thing goes for the mission vision areas of the job posting. Incorporate these in your bullets or your summary statement. And this is one that is controversial, but something that I believe in and something that I've used to get my clients jobs. I had a recent client who was a technician, but he was a technician for like 15 years, and he wanted to go into property management. And I started talking to him. I said, why do you want to go into property management? And he says, well, for the past 6 years, I've basically been the building manager for the company I work for. I manage 4 different buildings, 4 different spaces. I fix toilets. I work with construction crews. I do walk in and walk outs and move in, move outs. And look at his resume and said technician. No one's going to hire you to be a property manager. And I said, we need to create a position for yourself at this organization as a property manager. Will your boss be okay with that? And he said, yes, we got approval. And he created a new position, a new job title, because that's what he did at his job. And that is a kind of an extreme example, but a lot of times you do work in your job that doesn't fall under your job title, but it relates to where you want to go. So it's okay to have your job title, comma, and then have another job title that is relevant to where you want to go. You're not lying at all. You're keeping your normal job title. and you're just adding more keywords that relate to the next position that you want. It's unfair to have, organizations have different titles for different jobs, for the same jobs. And so if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to pretty much give you some suggestions. Hold them for the Q&A if you have a specific job and want to go into a different industry. And if you need experience, start your own company or volunteer. Do something that helps you use the job title that you want for the next job and gain experience and build relationships. These can make the difference. I once had a resume and they were just using the title manager, and they wanted a director level position in a specific area. And so he went and volunteered as a director somewhere, had director in his resume, and he started getting calls left and right. So it really does make a difference. Haven't spoken very deeply about the summary statement, but it's the first thing that shows up at the top of your resume. This is, I'd say, the most important part of your resume. And a lot of people use their objective, or they don't use this idea of a summary that represents what their experience is and what they're passionate about. This is a great opportunity for you to actually highlight key parts of the organization, the job description, front and center, to get them to want to read your entire resume. And just to show you some examples, I had a recent client with their resume. This was their sample summary statement. Here's my story. Growing up with two entrepreneur parents, I have always had a passion to learn all aspects of a business and what makes it successful. I've spent my career educating myself and gaining experience to be well-versed in every area of hospitality, design, and construction industry. Now, by reading that, one, there's a mistake in there with the capitalization. And I have no idea what qualifies this person, what job they're applying for. And I remember your summary statement should represent the job that they are hiring you for. And so it was edited into this: Director of Hospitality with over 15 years of experience in management, business operations and development, and design excellence and planning in the hotel and food and beverage industries. Focused on utilizing my entrepreneurial, roll up my sleeves mentality and work ethic. Passions for advising business owners and investors on how clients, customers think in order to increase loyalty and ultimately business revenue efficiencies and effectiveness. So I know right off the bat, this person is a director of hospitality. They have 15 years of experience, and they are really focused in the hotel and food and beverage industries. Plus, they're a little entrepreneurial. This is a game changer when you're applying for a job. Just one more example. Initially, the summary statement was specialist on supply chain management and ERP systems as SAP, strong analytic skills to control performance metrics within the organization. Over 10 years of experience on inventory control needed to provide and maintain high profitability. That just confused me, to be honest. I don't know what this person wants. I don't know what they're applying for. And after discussing with him, we found out that, he wanted to be a supply chain director, and he has leadership experience. As a supply chain director and leader with an expertise in lean strategic warehouse management, people development, and operations, focused on driving performance metrics and organizational priorities through global inventory control, logistics management, data analytics, and vendor relationships. So you see, we're using key skills, we're using the job title that we want, we're saying what our main expertise is in the first line, and we're reiterating that we have those skill sets. And if you want to add one more sentence, you can add something that you're passionate about as well to add a little personal touch. Okay, so this is where we're going to do a quick resume walkthrough. Just a couple minutes because I want to get into the LinkedIn portion. Let's see, I'm randomly selecting one. Downloading. And summary statements, I say, should be more than recommended. They should be required. You want someone to open up your resume and know exactly what you are applying for. I actually opened up a really good resume, so I'm going to share it. I'm going to share that resume. Let's see. Okay, can everyone see? Thumbs up, nods? Okay, we have Sarah. Thank you, Sarah, for sending this in. Right at the top, I have her location, her phone number, her Gmail, which is her name, it's professional. And we have so probably Instagram, if that's professional, if you feel like it should be included. Like I see you're a writer editor, maybe you have some material up there that helps represent your brand and your website. So that's wonderful. And I also love how you used your keywords here right at the top to draw attention. Now, I don't know what you want. Why are you applying to this job? What job title do you want? And even though I love the key accomplishments, I think that's wonderful. I would add a summary statement here so I know what the next step in your career needs to be for you. So really need to state for me, who are you, what you want, because I can read these key accomplishments, but it's a lot for me to go through right now. And I also don't know how this applies specifically to the job. I do think they're wonderful though. So I do like how you formatted it. Let's see. I might want to restructure in terms of where I put them, but I'm just going to go down further. So right off the bat, I'm not reading the bullets right now. We have way too many for the first position. So we have 12 bullets. So I would say, can you consolidate? Do some of these go together? Can you indent them? Can you tell me more? Can you quantify? I see some quantification in the beginning, but I see here, for example, developed content for social media storytelling. What did that content create? I like that you have, let's see, reading some of these pretty quickly. Now, what were some of the results of these campaign budgets? If you're applying for campaigns, I'd like to hear I'd like to know what some of these campaigns are for. But again, I don't really know what job you're applying for. Again, what that summary statement helps. It helps tell the story. And I'd say if you were, to think about how many bullets you want, I wouldn't really go over 5, 6 is kind of pushing it. And you do have some one-line bullets here. You could totally can expand on those in terms of action orientation, quantification, and you can consolidate some of them. Now, I imagine too, within a job posting, they might say what specific type of social media they want your expertise for. So how can you expand on what social media storytelling is? And honestly, I just keep focusing on this because it's the one bullet that stands out to me the most. And I do see that you have up here Facebook, Instagram. Let's see. Directed the National Trust work to grow and engage its audience via social media channels, engaging an average of more than 37,000 users per month. This is wonderful. I love that. Now, right after that bullet though, because you want to tell a story, can you write more bullets that relate to that? So think about too, the grouping of how you're actually writing your experience. Let's keep going. So it looks like I'm okay with this setup. Months are really important. If you don't have months, then the systems have a hard time identifying your experience. I honestly, your job titles don't pop out to me enough. I would actually add probably a space under each job title and company. It's good here, but you've had, let's see, it looks like 1, 2, I don't know if this is a separate job because the company doesn't seem to be separated. But you've had a couple jobs at the same organization. Honestly, I probably would break them up and to list the organization around it as well, above it as well, just for the ATS systems. So it's easier for them to automatically input the company itself. Let's see, 7 jobs in 1 org. Okay, so you can actually break that up in a way to tell a better story. And also, so organizations can actually, the ATS systems can actually count the number of years that you were working. Okay, let's see. I would reduce the number of bullets under your volunteer experience. Under your freelance work, I actually probably would put that up with your professional profile since it seems that that's related. And in terms of this additional experience, I'm not sure if I would keep it or I would ask you a little to really understand it more in terms of where you paid for that. And it looks like these are different job titles. So I might actually, depending on if that's relevant or not, take that off. And again, I'm a little torn on the key accomplishments, if these should go here or not. I'd have to talk to you, but hopefully this gives everyone a little bit more of an understanding of how to, how to tell a story with their resume. This is actually a really good resume. This is one of probably the top 10% that I would probably receive. So kudos to you, Sarah, for putting this together. But there are some ways to tell a greater story and to pack more of a punch. So So give Sarah a round of applause for being so awesome and sharing with us this with us today. Hopefully that was a little helpful for everyone. Okay, you ready for LinkedIn? Woohoo. Okay. So some of the top tips for LinkedIn is that this needs to represent your career brand. And your resume is an extension of your career brand, but LinkedIn itself really just, if I go to your LinkedIn page, this is your homepage, this is your website. I need to know exactly who you are, what you want to do, what you're aspiring for, what your passions, what your missions are. And so often I go to people's LinkedIn pages and they're just blank. I have no idea. It's just also a plethora of experience. There's no story there. There's no brand. So what is it that you truly care about? Now let's make your LinkedIn profile represent that. It is your homepage. And what stops people from doing this is that they're afraid of being in the spotlight. They hold themselves back. So they don't engage, they don't post, this is not a place to be humble. They don't promote themselves. Your resume, your LinkedIn profile are not a place to be humble. You need to go out there and say, I am amazing. I am awesome. This is what I care about. This is what I want the world to know about me. Because you will not find a better free advertisement that recruiters are consistently searching on all the time to find people like you for the next job. Throw in the chat, by the way, if you've ever been reached out to on LinkedIn, maybe for not like a financial management position or something like that from some of those like, spammy types of requests, but for an actual job and ended up getting a job through LinkedIn, I'd love to hear. So just some general tips going along with this theme of this is your homepage. So use everything. Profile photo, header photo, about section, featured section, skills section, recommendations, volunteer, accomplishments, everything, anything and everything that you want to use. This is not your resume where you have to worry about 5 bullet points. This is a place where you can throw everything and anything that tells your story online. Your headline too is one of the most important things, just like your summary statement. Your headline is the first thing people see when you message them, other than your name. Your headline is one of the first things people see when they go to your page, other than your header profile or your header picture. So does your headline, and we can go over some specific headlines, speak to what you want, speak to your talent, speak to your key skills, speak to the job that you're getting next. The first thing in your headline, and so often I see people use a headline that is like their job and their job title. It should say the next job that you want. It should say the job that you're applying for. You're applying for a director position, it should say director. So think about that right now with your LinkedIn profile, what you can start editing. Now, under the experience section, it allows you to pretty much add a decent amount. You can list projects, you can do a quick summary of your job right at the top and then do bullets, but it lets you have a see more option. And all of your jobs should use that see more option, meaning that you should have enough content in there where I have to click the see more. And LinkedIn doesn't automatically let you use bullets. So you want to go online, you can actually do a copy paste of a bullet image and you can input it into your LinkedIn job description. So you actually have bullets just like you would on your resume. And if you're applying for a director position, I see this in the chat and you say senior manager, you can totally put director. Why does an organization have to call you a director to be a director? If you're qualified to be a director in your mind, if you're applying for director level positions, put it in your headline. Why not? Pump yourself up. There's no reason why you shouldn't, especially if you're applying for those jobs and actually feel qualified for them. Again, you want to focus on keywords. You want to make sure that you're keyword loading and add a little bit more personality than your resume. So in your summary section, the about section, add a little bit of flavor in terms of what you're passionate about, give a little bit of your personality, show that within the volunteer section as well as some of the hobbies that you're a part of. This gives people information to reach out to you a little bit easier. Okay, some bonuses. So you want to change your LinkedIn webpage just like you would your email to something that relates to what you're trying to do. And you can find this on your profile under public profile and URL. You don't want Benjamin Ritter 069727792. You want to actually change it to Benjamin Ritter Leadership Coach. What is it that you want to be searched for? What do you want to be known for within your industry? And this allows you too to put this into your resume, and it's a little extra piece that helps with showing that you are really, really passionate about what you are trying to work in or what you're working on. It also helps with SEO. So when recruiters are searching for you, you'll more likely pop up. If you plan on living in Chicago or Austin, it's Austin Marketing Director. That helps your SEO, you'll pop up more. Now, I don't see this very often, but I've done this. I've seen a few other people do this, but they use the featured section for a video introduction to their profile. So you record a video of who you are, what you do, just your summary statement, throw it on YouTube, make it a post, or you can just actually load it right into LinkedIn, make a post for it, and then feature it into your featured section on your profile. This is actually awesome when someone goes to your profile and they're like, who is this person? This is their story. Oh, I click this and they get to see your face, hear your voice, and reiterates what you're actually passionate about, what you're looking for. You can throw previous work examples in there too, and you can also throw in your resume, which makes it easier for recruiters. A little extra tidbit too is you can create a Canva header image where you actually list some of your key skills or your picture. It's a really easy website to look like a graphic design artist, even though you're not. But when someone goes to your profile, it's fine to have some of that stock imagery, but imagine if they went to your profile and really like saw this like incredible image of what you care about, what you're passionate about, and you. That tells a story to me and shows that you're serious. And I would want to have a conversation with you. When you are engaging, okay, so none of this matters, right? Your LinkedIn profile doesn't matter if you're not engaging, to be honest. I mean, recruiters can find you, but you're not popping up high into this into the search results. So how do you engage? Once you have your brand, once you have your resume, how do you actually start building connections? How do you ensure that you're showing up in search results, that people are seeing you? And one of the greatest ways to connect with recruiters is to comment on things, because commenting actually, whatever you commented on takes that information that you commented on and shows it more in your feed and shows it more to the people that commented on it or that posted that information too. So when you do have a chance, by the way, to have a conversation, you want to make sure that you're not leading with wanting a job, that you're leading with actually from a place of curiosity, that you're really interested in the organization, in the person's career path, and not just I'm really looking for a new opportunity, because all of a sudden now your status goes from interesting to needing and wanting. So just wanted to say that for a moment and just preface that. So when you are getting ready to engage, you want to identify who you want to connect with, the organizations that you want to connect with. You want to go to their profiles, and you can send them a connection request, but it is also helpful to share, like, and comment on their posts. They see your face, they see your name, they're more likely to connect with you. And when you do send them a message next, they're more likely to respond and accept. Now, a lot of times people will just accept and not respond to anything. So it's your duty within the next week or so to send them a message that just says, hey, really interested in your background, your experience in the organization. Would you be open to a 15 to 20-minute conversation? And that's it. Now, if they don't reply to that, you can also potentially send them an email. Sometimes people leave their email within their LinkedIn profile. A lot of times people aren't super engaged on LinkedIn as well. You'll notice that once you start sharing and liking and commenting on their posts to see if they're actually active or not. But it's okay to send them an email, even if they don't respond to a follow-up message. A lot of times the people that we're trying to contact, senior managers, directors, at times hiring managers, and not usually that prone to talk and have a conversation, they're busy. So they read something, they close off. You're a stranger. So make sure that you are following up appropriately, at least one follow-up message and one email too, if possible. Okay, so now I want to make sure we have time for Q&A. Who wants to do a quick LinkedIn walkthrough? Does someone want to throw their LinkedIn profile in the chat? And I'll go through it real quickly. Let's see. Okay, got one. Let's see. Let's pull it up. And it's loading. Okay. Everyone see this? Thumbs up. Awesome. I got Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth, for sharing so quickly. You were on it. I do love your header image. It is beautiful and calming. And your profile picture is wonderful. You're looking at the camera, you're smiling. You might hear some people comment recently that, you should have a personal profile picture. It should show you in your home and such, and with your kids. And I say, this professional style photo is more than perfect. You don't need to worry about having like your puppy in your photo and things like that. So I'd say right off the bat, the header image, it does let me know that you're a creator, maybe an artist, but I don't know anything about you. So if there's a way to customize this, again, using Canva, then that would help. It would bump up your profile. I see I don't have education listed here. I only have the magazine, Toasty Magazine. So again, I'm missing out on a little bit of information, but you are a founder, so that's probably why. Creator, innovator, and founder of Toasty Magazine. But what is Toasty Magazine? This is an opportunity for you to do kind of like a line, a bracket, and write pretty much what your mission is, what your vision is, what you're passionate about, or some more keywords that make me want to have a conversation with you. Because right now I know you're a creative and I know you're a founder, but tell me more. Looking at the about section. Okay, let's see here. I love bringing ideas and thoughts to life, be it through a written article, killer layout, or design research. This is wonderful. What does bringing ideas and thoughts to life mean? What does it mean? What does it do for you? What does it create? I'd like to see that right after that. And then you can go and I think, your experience, who you work for, what your industry is. That's wonderful too. But what have you done for them? And I see down here, you have some numbers and some highlights, but can you give an example right here of a story of something that you've done really quickly? But you're also an avid researcher, who loves social and market insights. Okay, now I don't really know. Now I'm a little confused in terms of what you do and you want to create and what you want to put out in the world. What are you passionate about? What is the mission again? This brings me to, why should I talk to you? Give me one or two or things that align with each other. That would be really helpful for me. I like the portfolio inclusion. That's awesome. Let's see if it's in the featured section. Is this it? This might be it. You have if this is your portfolio, this looks like your website. Let's get an image here. Let's go to the SEO page and let's upload an image here. And sorry, Evan, this is a little unique because it's a founder. You can also use bullets and icons here to make them stand out a little bit more. And I like how you were a little personal here, but again, this is another company. So how do we streamline, how do we create a brand for you where, maybe even talking points, like reach out to me if bullet, bullet, bullet. That would be helpful to me. I see the alumni team, you got Toasty Magazine, which you're promoting, maybe reorder these if you can too, to show what you want to put first. It looks like you're active, which is awesome. Looks like you can engage a little bit more though, right? I think you have, I'm not sure how many connections you have, but it seems like you could, let's see, start connecting a little bit more to get that up there. Founder and editor-in-chief, that's beautiful. In terms of editor-in-chief, I like how you added that. And so just in terms of time, I want to make sure that we move on, but I like how you have highlights and you have a quick summary. I think that's great. Let's see. Go down a little bit more. Now, your skills and endorsements don't seem to relate to your job, so I'd reorder those as well. And I like how you have some recommendations and you've utilized a fair amount of your LinkedIn profile. But again, it's this idea of a story. If I had more time, I'd go through each bullet point. It looks like you potentially could also highlight some specific projects, and especially because this is your magazine, you're a founder of it. Who do you want to talk to? Partnerships, advertising, are you selling advertising? Tell me more in there. Okay, so that's it for right now. Thank you so much for sharing this. I know I quickly went through it, but hopefully you got a little bit of tips. Hopefully all of you got a few tips from this as well. Let's go back to the presentation and let's close up. Okay, so we have a quick giveaway for everyone. I know we're getting close to time. So let's all give a round of applause to Elizabeth for being open and sharing. I think that was pretty awesome. It takes a lot to get in front of all these people and to throw your profile up there. But hey, you know what? Everyone put their LinkedIn in the comments. Go connect with them. Go make some friends. Go send some messages. Talk about your takeaways and stuff. Send them your resume and be like, hey, what do you think about my resume? Does it align with all these bullets and stuff? This is a great way for all of you to get some free advice from each other and create some accountability buddies. Okay, so giveaway, resume, LinkedIn, job search strategy for all in a 45-minute session. You'll get a fully done resume, fully updated LinkedIn profile, and get some tips on how to actually get a job with those things. So I do this a lot. Here's some testimonials. Don't need to read them. You can find out more if you go to Google and look me up. They're all there. But I've been actually editing resumes. I found this out since 2008, which is a little nuts. And I've been leadership coaching for career planning, career switching and stuff for the past 5-ish years. But it's like over 10 years of resumes and interview stuff. And LinkedIn is rather new, to be honest there, because I've been using it to grow my business and to help my clients get positions. Okay, so to enter, this is all confidential. No one else can see these emails. Throw your email for a chance to win. I will pick somebody by the end of today's presentation. So I'll do it last. I'll do it at the end. So throw your email in. I'll make sure that I can see everyone that entered. I'll give everyone a second. You can use the QR code on the left side. You can join at slido.com/career ad. And this is a $625 value. I see people throwing their emails in the chats. Please throw them in the Slido. If you can't access Slido, I feel like now I have to select 2 people, to be honest. I feel like that's only fair. Okay, 2 people will win. So I'm selecting 2 people. You should enter. Don't enter twice. You can't enter twice. Okay, so I'll give everyone another, 30 seconds. No, 10 seconds, because I want to answer questions. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, first winner. Shuffling is, wait, I'll tell you actually later. Okay, Q&A. You have to stick around for the Q&A if you want to know the winner. Let's stop the share for a second. Let's do the Q&A. Let's get some questions. And I'll actually put the winners in the chat right now as we prepare for those questions, because it's only fair. I feel like I really pumped it up that we're going to pick a winner. So if you want to ask a question, and I'm not sure I don't think you can unmute. Maybe say you want to ask a question in the chat or throw them in the chat, and I will just pick a question and go for it.
If you use the raise your hand feature, I can help unmute you. Benjamin, I've also sent you some of the questions that were from the chat earlier in the session.
Oh, wonderful. Let's see. So I actually got a question right now. What if the job you're applying for is technically lower in status than the job you're currently in? For example, I freelance as a creative director, but I'm applying for art director jobs. Creative director and art director seem rather similar in my mind. Can you actually align those? I know I see someone shaking their heads, but I actually think that you could actually find a level of alignment there. And if it's just status, there's a way to curate your experience to fit the art director role. So take out some of the more, I guess, higher level types of duties that you were doing, and kind of not dumb it down, but kind of lower what experience you're highlighting to ensure that you qualify for, so you don't scare the people in those other roles. I actually think you have more to work with there, and I'd say that'd be the simplest answer. And I'm loading the question list. So I answered one or two of these. So as an older applicant, should you put in all your job experiences? You want to highlight job experiences that are relevant to the position you're applying for. And if you have 20 years of experience, 30 years of experience in that specific field, then just say that in the summary. Say over 20 years of experience in your summary statement, and then highlight the past 10 or 15 years. You want to try to avoid going over, I'd say 4 pages in your resume, 3 pages in your resume. And so you don't have to put everything in it. Now, if you didn't graduate from college, what is the best way to format your resume? You don't even have to highlight education. You don't even have to put it on your resume. I just have a client right now. He's a senior manager at Google. He's never graduated college. So there are opportunities out there. You don't need to have education listed on your resume. Some places still require a bachelor's degree, but it's not. You can find positions and organizations that don't require that. You can also use, you're engaging on LinkedIn to build relationships with people so that they kind of bypass that requirement for you as well. Let's see. How do you find career opportunities through volunteer gigs? By the way, my first job ever, I walked into a volunteer position at the Illinois Department of Public Health. And during the meeting, I said, would you like to pay me? Can I do this as a job? Because they wanted something, they wanted a lower scope of work. And so I asked them if they would just increase it. They said, yeah, sure. And that was my first job, my first graduate job. And that's how I actually built a relationship with them, where they actually hired me after graduate school as well. That was one of the jobs that lost funding after a while though too. So it's very possible for you to take a volunteer gig and make it a full-time gig. But if you want to connect with volunteer opportunities, I would just say, look up your dream organizations, reach out to them and see if they have volunteer opportunities, also if they have jobs, but then also look up volunteer organizations locally. It's really pretty easy to search nowadays. You can also go to, I think there's a lot of remote volunteer positions. For some reason, the word campfire is coming to mind. I can't remember it specifically, but I know I researched recently volunteer opportunities remote as well. And that honestly is a pretty easy Google, search online. Let's see. What if my experience isn't directly in the field? It's adjacent. In my case, I left academia. And so here an opportunity comes up, I'd say one, again, to highlight specific skill sets, but this is where, can you create a consulting company for a moment and start contracting? And can you list your mission and vision within that consulting position, even without clients at the moment, but start branding yourself in that field and in that space? And so maybe your previous experiences don't align, but you can put yourself out there as a thought leader and start branding yourself, especially on LinkedIn. Okay, let's do, where do we find what good keywords are? So the greatest place you should look for those keywords are in the job description, because the hiring manager is using that job description to input into the ATS system. So everything that you need will be in that job description. If you want, you should look at multiple job descriptions. This is actually how I build resumes. I look at 3 or 4 different job descriptions with the same title, and I consolidate from there. If you don't want to have to customize your resume repeatedly for different jobs. Catch a fire. There we go. I see it in the chat. Let's see. Is it worthwhile to take the skill assessments on LinkedIn? The skills that you list on LinkedIn, not the skills assessments, they actually are used to tabulate, top applicant. So it is helpful to ensure that you have the skills that are listed, for the jobs that tend to get posted within your field. And the skill assessments can add to that. So they can, if they have Word as a requirement and you have an assessment in Word, that is helpful. If you're in a technical field, I'd say just highlighting them within your jobs themselves and in the skills section, not actually taking an assessment, would be more than enough. I see, you're submitting a resume in PDF file bad. It's not bad. The preferred method of uploading a resume is text. It's just a notepad text file, and not allowing your sentences to get too long and actually entering them. I used to do that for clients, and now just use a Word format because it still works. It still uploads properly. But if you have the choice, I would stick with a Word or PDF. PDF is fine, but there's no, if it's uploading properly, you can test it within different job applications, then you're fine. If it's not uploading properly, then I'd switch to Word. Okay, with 5 minutes left, I'm going to pause. Thank you all for your questions. I really appreciate your level of engagement, your level of interest. It warms my heart to see how many people are here, but also I want to reiterate again that this is an opportunity for you to grow in your career, to make more money, to make new friends, learn new skills. And so despite how defeating it can be to search for a job and get rejected, so to speak, remember 2% of people actually get a phone call. That's not you. And by the way, 40% of job hires are referrals again. And so, also think about internal candidates that are going for a position, or a position that is just listed because they need to list a position for 2 days and they 3 days and they already have someone that they want to hire. So don't get down on yourself. This is going to be a process, but it's going to lead to a really awesome outcome for you in the future. And nothing that happens along the whole job search journey is a reflection on you as an individual. It's a reflection on potentially the job itself, the tools that you're using, the hiring manager, the preferences. It's not you. Again, it is just the way things work right now, which is why I also suggest to everyone, when they're looking for jobs to apply for, pick your dream organizations. If you're going to get a job, make it be the job that you actually want. Network with those individuals, learn about those companies, build a network within those fields. Because every time you apply for a job, you're starting over in the job search. Your resume goes in there, goes down a black hole, maybe you get a call, maybe not. Every time you spend having a conversation with someone out of curiosity and with your brand, you're building more career capital. You're building a stronger network. You're building the opportunity to get the job that you really want. So now I'm going to tell you all who the 2 winners are. Let's go to this. Okay. From the Slido search, I have Petra Talvio. I will be sending you a follow-up. Round of applause. And then in the chat, I got to scroll all the way up. Okay. I have Rob at Robert White. Thank you all for playing. Thank you all for entering. I really do appreciate your engagement. Cheers, applause to everyone. And wow, 1 minute early. I feel like I've never done that before. Thank you all. We'll do some jazz hands. This has been incredible. If you want, unmute. You can unmute. No, turn on your video for a second and say bye. It would be incredible. I love seeing everyone that attended. Hopefully you got some value. And hopefully y'all get some jobs, because we all deserve to get a job.
You can unmute now, everybody.
Woohoo! Unmute. Say bye. Go field trips.
Bye.
Go field trips.
Bye.
We didn't even have a chef today.